Some key things to remember content-wise is one, structuring, meaning there are many different ways to tell a story, right? So you got to sit down and be like, well, what key piece of information do they need to hear first? What is a nice build-up? I even do this in terms of content. Guess what? There's different ways you can explain a certain topic, right? Usually if I'm talking with friends or clients or even an event, I might sometimes riff on new little bits of content, and I'll just see how it comes out. And then I'll say rewatch the recording, and I'm like, how did I explain that bit of content? How could it have been better explained? Oh, maybe if I said this bit then, maybe if I put that joke here, oh, this little bit was a bit complex, maybe I should link it to a story, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, for them to understand this bit, I should have said that concept first so I could link to it. That's all structure, structure, structure. Work on it. A lot of people have amazing stories. The structure is terrible. It also means start with a hook. Start with the juice. Don't just do this slow build-up. Like, hey, so it's like, get people excited right off the bat. Right? I was talking about, funny enough, with Buddy yesterday, the time I did LSD. Anyone know that story? No. I'm shocked people don't. I put it in a few videos. Yeah, that was the first time and only time I ever did like heavy psychedelic drugs. I was 21 years old, just moved to LA, and it was New Year's Eve. Now, let's just take that little bit there. Guaranteed, probably a lot of you are like, give us the rest. Started with the juice. No. Versus, oh, so I was 21 and then this, and like, start with the LSD part. Just the word LSD. Everyone's like, you're already tripping right now. It's like, there you go. It's like, start with the juice. But even then, it could, like, if you actually took this, the little bit I did, it could probably be even a little shortened, right? You can, funny enough, also practice this with TikTok. You'll see very fast, like, you don't have to be like a full TikToker, but if you just put some stories or whatnot on TikTok for the fun of it, you'll see when people drop off. You'll see the ones that pick up. And especially with TikTok or even Instagram stories, if it's not every millisecond of the way engaging, people bounce off. Our attention spans are screwed, by the way. To the point where even a 15-second Instagram story is too long. You're like, next, next, next. Like it's a 1, 2, 3 seconds. You'll see in the future, total side tangent, it's going to be this whole game or war of attention spans, where it's actually concerning because a lot of the solutions to what we're all dealing with as a whole in a society are complex and nuanced. You see it, right? It's like everything right now in the mainstream is so dumbed down in black and white. There's no nuance. It's going to be more and more like that, and it'll reach a point where our attention spans will be so low that we won't even have the attention to even listen to the full solution that's too nuanced, and then we're screwed. So, hey, that's the future, huh? But if you take those first, 20, 30 seconds of that story, you could have probably optimized it a lot more. Okay, so that's structuring. Then, and I'll add some more to structuring, but some other things you could do is then stylizing it, right? So what does that mean? The choice of words, right? There's a different words, different vocabulary, there's a different way of speaking. Like there's a certain voice that you have. All of you here, if you've known me for a while, you're pretty familiar with the way I talk, my wording, to the point where if you read an email from me, you would know, oh, that's written in his voice, versus if a little marketer person wrote it, you're like, oh, that's not him. You'll sense it. So for you, it's studying the wording, the choice of words, even adding swear words can add a certain style to it. And then imagining, adding graphic, adding details, adding description, right? So take that LSD story. I'll give you the end, don't worry. But before I do, let's go back to structuring, which I said we'd talk about. And I just illustrated it here. Within structuring, it means order of things, but it also means, one, perhaps leaving open loops, which is what I did. Started the story, and then I branched off in a different thread, explaining it, right? So notice the story didn't finish, and it was still in the back of your mind, like, but the story, but the story, but the story. Keeps your attention here. That's an open loop. It also links to multiple threading. Instead of having just one story, have multiple going on at the same time. Just doing that is an easy way to make your conversations way more interesting, no matter who you're talking to. I do this with friends. I do it all the time. It should just be a natural way of being. You start one story, go another one, and then you keep bouncing in between. And the less they even have in common, the more you're a little bit ADD all over the place with your threads, the more exciting. All right, you can also study Marvel movies. That's what they do. It's all multiple threading. That's the only reason people are so glued to those. Ever watch the Avengers? That's it. There's Spider-Man storyline, Captain America storyline, Doctor Strange storyline, and then they keep bouncing between these different planets, areas, and characters, multiple threading, and people are glued because it's not too boring. It's not the one thing that's too linear, right? So back to the LSD story. Okay, it's New Year's Eve. Okay, I got back from the Coffee Bean, so I was working at this coffee store. I was a barista. Like imagine just a ghetto little coffee store. I was the person who's like, "Hello, sir. What would you like today?" And just doing the coffee with a little hat and apron. That was me. That was my first job moving to LA. Now, funny enough, when it comes to social skills, it was very practical because you talk to so many people. All right, so I'd actually challenge myself. A lot of people just try to go autopilot to zone through the day. I would challenge myself to get one good joke or bit of interaction with every single person I talk to. But back to the LSD story. So I'm at the Coffee Bean, and there's a guy working with me, a little sketchy. He's like, "I can get you anything you want." And I'm like, LSD, let's go. The reason being is I was super self-destructive back then, live fast, die young. I didn't think I'd make it past 27. And I always wanted to, kind of like the old school 60s, 70s, like rock and roll. I wanted to hallucinate. More precisely, I wanted to see a pink elephant. That was my dream, for real. Was it Dumbo in the movie? It's like you see all the pink, like I wanted to see a pink elephant, just like I read. So I'm like, give me the LSD, and he gave me 6 hits. It was like 6 little sugar cubes. And he's like, start with one. It's your first time. Make sure it's in a safe environment. Ideally, someone's there just in case. And I'm like, dude, I want an intense experience. I don't want the little light experience. I want to see a pink elephant. He's like, maybe do 2, but I wouldn't recommend it. Try if you want, but once more, safe environment, someone there, 2 maximum, and wait 45 minutes to an hour for it to kick in. Great. So it's New Year's Eve. I was living on the floor of this guy at the time who died, and we revived him. It's a whole other story. But back to the LSD story. I sit down, close all the lights are off. There's really no light. It's pitch black pretty much. It's me, my computer. The only light is the computer. And I'm talking to this friend in Switzerland. Pop the 2 sugar cubes, and I'm like, here we go. So we start talking and stuff. And after like 15, 20 minutes, nothing's really happening. I'm like, I don't really want to wait that long. So I go and open a bottle of red wine. And I start drinking the red wine. And I'm like, you know what? Let's be a little crazy here. I had some painkillers, and I don't know why I thought I'd take the painkillers too. So I take painkillers, take the wine, and it's around 35 minutes in or so, and still nothing. And at that point, I literally, I was chugging that wine. I pretty much finished the bottle. And I'm like, there's still nothing. You know what? Fuck this. I take the 4, pop them all. Now, we were talking about charisma. So imagine if I switched off topic. You'd be like, tell us the story, right? So that would be another one you could do a loop. Let's change topics. Can you imagine if I never came back to this? Okay, so I did the 6. And nothing happened still for another 10, 20, 30 minutes. And then, no joke, I'm there on the computer. I look to my left, and what do I see? Pink elephant. A fucking pink elephant. And so real, like right there next to me. I was like, yes. And I was so happy. I'm like, this is great. And again, it's just me alone in the dark, just looking at this elephant with a computer light, tripping balls. And the thing they say too is never look at yourself in the mirror. So what do? I run to the mirror, look at myself, and my face is like morphing and stuff. I'm like, this is awesome. I tell the person, it was on Facebook at the time, I'm like, this is great, tripping, LSD. They're like, what? And then it starts getting a little bit more intense. I'm like, okay, this is cool. And then after a little while, I'm like, well, I'm happy now. Let's wrap this. I'm good to be done. I did not know at the time that if you take it, you're not going to sleep. And you're probably going to be up for at least 24 hours or more. And the other 4 were starting to kick in strong, and it wasn't very fun. And suddenly it started getting really, really intense. I'm like, I just want to sleep. So I remember lying down, and the ground was moving. I look at the couch, all the patterns are moving. I'm like, I want this to be over. And I look at the ceiling opens. I see the universe. And it was the most intense, crazy, kind of amazing, but horrible night of my life. Did not sleep at all, just me on the bed like there, just seeing the universe, like lying there. And the next morning I had to work. So I went into work. I don't know how I made it to work. I'm like walking in, just still everything's moving, tripping. And I was like pale and green and sweating, and they all thought I was hungover from New Year's, and I was just like, I'm sick. I guess it's the fever or something. And they're like, you can go home. Finally went home, and basically I was up from 6 p.m. till 7 p.m. the next day, tripping, terrible, and finally passed out. And I was 21 at the time. It was the only time I did it. I wanted something extreme. It was more extreme than what I thought was extreme. Like, I'm like, I want to reach the limit. This went over the limit. I was like, fuck that, never again. And that was my LSD experience. And that was moving to LA. Now, with that though, this is the key point. Take this whole story, there's a million ways you could say it. And there are a million ways I do. If I say it in short, I could literally, like, what's the story? If at the core, it's, so it was New Year's Eve. I did 6 hits of LSD. Oh, my friend, by the way, the next day said, you were insane. You could have really messed up your brain, which I probably have, and that's why I am the way I am. But, you know, that was the story. I took 6 hits, was crazy, and that was it. So you can flesh it out. There's different words. There's different descriptions. Like, some of the things you probably remember from the story are 1, pink elephant, 2, ceiling opening, maybe coffee bean, not sleeping, and those are like some key more visceral shock portions of it that stand out. Do that with your stories. Do that with the way you talk. And lastly, do it with everyone. Guess what? The way I talk here, again, I was saying this to Buddy last night. That's how I talked to Buddy last night. We were there sitting, I'm like, going, then the ceiling, like, same thing. I talk to a friend, same thing. I talk to family, it's same thing. I talk to a stranger, it's same thing. When it comes to really being interesting, not boring, being charismatic, that's just who you are. You don't turn it on. You are like that all the time. Talking to myself, I'm charismatic. Brushing my teeth at night in the mirror by myself, the inner voice is charismatic. That's just who you are. You don't turn it on. At all times. Even listening to this right now, your inner voice better be like, yeah, like full charismatic in your head. Even when you're angry, you're charismatic. You're the most angry, charismatic person there is. Even when you're sad, you're a sad, charismatic person. Own it. A lot of people when they're sad, it's like, oh, just be, no, really embrace it. And that's the thing. You can make anything charismatic. It's not also about energy, by the way. It's about intensity. Intensity over energy. You could be very quiet, but if there's a certain intensity, people sense it, it reels them in. It doesn't necessarily mean being happy. Even if you notice my videos or even bits here, there's times where it's a little bit more joking funny, but then there's also, in a seminar segment, times where it's a bit more like, step it up! Aren't you sick of this? That's not joking funny, yet it's also charismatic. So lean into it. It doesn't mean compromise your authenticity and put on a charismatic front. It means lean into authenticity and supercharge it.